So I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land, the Wathaurong people, to pay my respects to their elders, past, present and future, and any elders that are present here today. Now I look down. So first of all, to congratulate the Barwon Network on convening the forum and facilitating conversations regarding partnering for lifelong learning and jobs. So what I'm going to speak about is two significant priority areas for our department, Department of Health and Human Services, and highlight the opportunities that Leanne, me, feels that the neighbourhood house sector can within those contexts. So one of the guiding principles of the department is building capability, opportunity and inclusion within communities. Lifelong learning and training for jobs not only increases our prospects of finding employment and stable housing, but also increases opportunities to participate socially in the communities in which we live. Everyone should have access to training opportunities suitable for their life stages, job aspirations, and to be able to access to lifelong learning opportunities that generate inspiring personal growth, resilience, pathways to meet their job aspirations. And for some people, this may require foundation skills such as literacy and numeracy and computer skills. For some Victorians, the prospect of participating in training and lifelong learning opportunities is low, as families grapple with very complex issues that pervade their lives, such as homelessness, intergenerational unemployment, family violence, mental health and wellbeing issues. All these factors have impact on their health, their safety and the wellbeing of children and young people within our communities. So the department's roadmap for reform aims to reframe and redevelop the manner in which families are supported to ensure that children and young people experience safety and stability within their own homes. The focus is on strengthening our communities to better prevent neglect and abuse, delivering early support to children and families at risk, and keeping more families together through crisis rather than separating them, and securing a better future for the children who can't live at home. The statistics are quite startling, and I was really surprised to read this. The number of child protection reports has doubled since 2009. That's pretty big. And Aboriginal children are overrepresented in these reports by a factor of 6 compared to the general child population. We also know that not all children have access to universal services, such as our maternal child health system, kindergartens, playgroups, etc., that helps and nurtures those children in their development. So some of the factors here are that only 15% of eligible children known by our child protection system actually access the targeted kindergarten programs available for 3-year-olds experiencing vulnerability and disadvantage. That's, quite a low percentage, and only 82% of Aboriginal 4 to 5-year-olds are attending kindergarten compared to 98.1% of non-Aboriginal children, and only half of our Aboriginal families attend the final 3.5-year-old visit to the maternal child health centre prior to going to kinder and school. So why am I telling you this? So there's also been an increase in risk around risk-taking behaviours and criminal activity in our adolescents, and we see them in our youth justice system. Approximately 1 in 8 children have behavioural issues when they start school. Adolescents' risk-taking behaviour is becoming more dangerous, as reflected in our increased youth crime and number of, let's see if I can say it, recidivists. In other words, reoffending. We also know that young Victorians are facing more difficult transitions to employment, as Georgina has actually mentioned, particularly in our neighbourhoods experiencing some economic transitions and concentrated social disadvantage. So you're thinking of, for example, Coronal Lane with the manufacturing. So what does this mean for our neighbourhood houses? Aha, bring it together. You're all sitting there wondering. The question is to consider, what role does neighbourhood houses play in providing universal services such as playgroups, childcare, etc. for our vulnerable families, as the hard-to-reach population groups accessing the programs? Are there opportunities for neighbourhood houses to connect families with young children who otherwise could otherwise be at risk of isolation within the communities? So what opportunities exist for neighbourhood houses to further enhance and facilitate our youth engagement activities? connections to training and support for young people, particularly young people who have become disconnected from training and schooling, similar to what Georgina said as well in her discussion. So the other reform, we've talked a bit about how that works with child protection. The other one we were going to discuss was family violence. So it's been on the radar a lot in the media a lot. We've just recently had the Royal Commission into Family and Violence announced, and there were over 230 recommendations made. That was around prevention, early intervention, response, perpetrator accountability, courts, and the impact on family violence on children. So there's going to be a whole of government response to meeting those recommendations, and around safety hubs, which we led by the Department of Premier and Cabinet. Our department, the Department of Health and Human Services, has increased investment in women and children's case management, crisis response, funding to enable women and children to remain safely in their own homes, and men's behavioural change programs and sexual assault services. Whilst the department is progressing the thinking around how to strengthen responses to family violence within the funded sector, it is acknowledged that local communities can play an integral role in raising awareness and shaping attitudes towards women and violence. So community and supporting groups, neighbourhood houses, funded community services, all important stakeholders and drivers to assist in the prevention of violence by promoting campaigns and key messages such as no to violence. Local groups and services also play an important role in supporting women and children who may be escaping or experiencing family violence. So neighbourhood houses are ideally positioned as information points for women and children experiencing family violence to find out where to actually start that access point. There is also plays a vital role in providing opportunities for the women to connect with their own communities and for women needing to build confidence, resilience and skills to rebuild their lives. For some women, it's about accessing the economic resources to relocate, to re-establish and to be with their children. This may mean returning to education and training for employment. So neighbourhood houses obviously play a significant role in enabling women to access training and learning opportunities to develop these skills to participate in the employment sector. Neighbourhood houses are vital to the socio-economic infrastructure of our local communities, and there are places where people connect, places where people learn, and places where children and young people can flourish. We all share the vision of enabling individuals and families to access training and lifelong opportunities within local communities, which are the foundation building blocks to employment and access to economic resources. So one of our challenges is how to support the hard to reach populations and vulnerable children, young people and families.